adrenaline rushes. This is something very common, and some people don't even realize what is going on. What it feels like is a sense of impending doom sometimes. They feel their heart pounding, they get really dizzy, especially when they stand up really quickly. They feel this anxiousness type of feeling or some jittery, wired and tired. And sometimes they could get confused with hot flashes because menopausal women, they feel like this flush come over them where it's hard to say if it's a hot flush or an adrenaline rush.
Right, and so adrenaline rushes are very common in adrenal fatigue. It commonly happens when the adrenal glands start failing to produce enough cortisol for the body to deal with the stress that you're encountering. So when it comes to this stage, the body will then produce adrenaline to help combat the stress as a last-ditch defense mechanism.
Well, the important thing to remember is that symptoms don't come on and off like a light switch. It's a continuum. So at the very minimal, when the body is under stress and the sympathetic nervous system is being activated, you can just feel irritable. You can feel a little startled. For example, the phone rings and you jump, okay? And then when you stand up, you can feel a little lightheaded, but it's not dizzy. You can see all the doctors to check out for sure, and you've been told that you're normal, you don't have any cardiovascular issues, you don't have any neurological issues, but somehow it's just not so steady. And if you keep going forward into the more advanced, as more adrenaline, more epinephrine, and more dopamine is being secreted as part of the autonomic response, then the symptoms get a little bit more serious and more irritable, waking up at night, a little bit more panicky sometimes. And these adrenaline rushes can be like tingling down your legs or your feet. It's kind of funny, non-specific whispers that your body gives you. But if you step back and take a look, it's almost like the body is kind of irritable. It is not happy with you. It does not know what to do. So therefore, these are just some warning signs. And if you have a sympathetic system that is being activated all the time, especially if you're like a type A person, you're so used to having adrenaline rushes and being alert and keep on the go all the time, you don't even feel it. But for some people, when you have such a high level, it builds up, and it flows over. When you flows over, that's when you have these adrenaline rushes. But remember, they come in a continuum. So don't just get your mindset thinking, well, if I don't have adrenaline rushes, I don't have the problem. No, you have a gradation from mild to moderate to severe. And in the most severe cases, you will need to see a doctor because you can get into panic attacks, and then you have to go to the emergency room, you see. But we're not dealing with that level of extreme. We're talking about just a feeling along the way. While you're tired at certain times, you can feel anxious, and another time, the slightest stresses can come and affect you. A slight argument can turn you off and set you off, for example. Huh? Okay.
And why is that reason? Is because adrenaline is usually a fight or flight response. So when you see a bear, when you undergo a lot of stress, when your boss is yelling at you, your adrenaline goes up usually to help you fight, okay, or run away. Except when you undergo chronic stress and your adrenaline is always up and you're unable to have enough cortisol to help dampen that response over time, the adrenaline just stays in you, and you just always feel like stimulated, and that's why you have that little irritable feeling all the time.
And it's very important to note is that adrenaline and its mother, biochemical mother called norepinephrine, are one of the very few. In fact, adrenaline is the only hormone in the body that does not have what we call an opposing hormone. For example, in the body, it's designed in such a way that it's balanced. So estrogen is balanced by progesterone. Sodium is balanced by potassium. Calcium is balanced by magnesium, for example. But because it is a flight or fight response, it is designed to come out and do not have a balancing factor, because the body thinks, hey, if I need to have this activated, that means I'm in danger, so the more the better. So in fact, instead of having what we call a negative feedback loop system, adrenaline has no feedback loop system. In fact, it's called the opposite. It's called a positive feedback loop. In other words, the more adrenaline comes out, it generates even more. You see, and the more adrenaline on this side comes out even more. The snowball gets rolled bigger and bigger and bigger. In fact, it will end up in what we call a collapse. That's the ultimate steps. So it's a very interesting a concept to understand, okay, in this cardionomic circuit, all right?
Okay, so what can you really do about it? The first step is to really restore adrenal function. Once you restore your adrenal function and get that reserve back, then your body will be able to produce more cortisol. And so then this will in turn really help reduce the need for your body to produce adrenaline. And slowly these symptoms will go away.
To help calm the body down, you can do some adrenal breathing exercises with the belly, meditating to calm your mind down to get your parasympathetic response up, which is basically to balance that sympathetic response that you're always having. There are some supplements that you could try to help calm you down, like magnesium is great. There are some people who use GABA, valerian, passion flower, 5-HTP, inositol, or theanine. But make sure you just be careful when you use these because sometimes they could have paradoxical reactions to them if you're a very congested person and you don't know how to use them properly. And they're also very dose dependent. So make sure you ask your practitioner before you start using any of these supplements just to make sure because every person is so different.
Yeah, as Dr. Kerry said, the more advanced you are in the adrenal state, the body internally is already upside down, so to say. And so therefore you can have a reaction that's hyper exaggerated or paradoxical. On top of that, one key note I want to make sure that everybody understands is that deep breathing is actually a sympathetic driven event at the last tail end of it. So adrenal breathing is designed to help the body calm down with a parasympathetic bias. It's not the same as deep breathing. And then you can go to my website and look more. I will teach you, okay?
Right. And so helping calm the body down really takes a holistic nutritional coaching plan. We don't just rely on supplements. You need a good lifestyle, diet, and a total body approach to really help the body and calm down and help it heal. And so this is what we help our clients with. It's a vital key to recover, and it's also part of our Dr. Lam nutritional program is not only supplementation, but really a whole body approach.
So to recap, to help with this adrenaline rushes, you need to deal with the adrenal function and learn how to calm the body down.